Hi guys, welcome back to the Unposted podcast. You guys, I have a really fun guest here today that I have followed for basically my whole life since I was little.
No.
I'm not even kidding. Bella Bernath. Is that how you say your last name? I just want to make
Bernath.
sure.
Yeah, no, it's Bernath.
Okay. She's a dancer, an artist, a model, all the things. She's insanely talented. And one thing about you is So me and Bella, we both grew up in Illinois. Woohoo.
Midwest.
And we both went to West Coast Dance Explosion convention growing up. And I'm from a really super small town, small studio. Same. You know, we were just there, you know, learning, connecting, trying to do our thing. But I remember Bella because first of all, you had like an 8-pack abs. And I remember being like, I need to get in shape. I'm like, this fucking girl is killing it. Always like, you got all the scholarships, everything. Like, you were definitely somebody that I was inspired by as a dancer.
Thank you.
Especially in Illinois, because I feel like, you know, every
that's
now
what you're
and
surrounded
then,
by too.
Yeah, and every now and then there's like a pop of somebody who's like, oh, that girl's like really good, and you were definitely one of those people for me growing up. So I'm very honored to have a full circle and have you here with me today.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
So I want to get into it because, like I've been saying with my other, recently I'm like, my intros are too long. Like, let's just get into
the nitty-gritty.
Get into it. Yeah. So I want to go back to kind of your childhood, how you grew up, or how did you get into dance? Like, what inspired that initially?
Actually, my sister, we did gymnastics, like a little
tumbling.
Me too. Growing up, just a little something. But my sister broke her hand one summer.
Okay.
And so she couldn't do gymnastics. Like, they couldn't, her thumb was whatever. So she had a cast on. So our family friends were taking class at the Park District. So we thought, let's just try dance. Let's try dance. So we started that summer, and I just never stopped. And then
how old were you?
4.
Oh,
4
my
or
goodness.
5. Like baby. No, even 4. Definitely 4. And like the toddler class, like literally like doing ballet.
Yeah.
Little soda shots and like little, just like
was it
nothing.
did you do the Mommy and Me classes?
We didn't have Mommy and Me.
Okay, I did Mommy and Me when I was like 2.
And I was 4. I was too old.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I was too old. But my teacher started and opened the studio in Elbert, and that's when I like moved over to that studio, and that's where I trained for 15 years or more.
The same place.
The same place, the same garage. It was 2 garages and a tin can.
Oh my
next to a cornfield.
Yes. Next to a cornfield.
In a railroad track.
Yes, in a railroad track. Same.
Illinois. So, I did that. It progressed pretty quickly. Like, my sister and I were diving in, doing this, wanted to do it. When I was little, I wanted to be a pop star.
Okay.
So I thought I needed the dance to be the pop star.
Did you do like you put on shows for your parents, like growing
absolutely.
up? Yeah,
absolutely.
Same.
My sister and I, my next door neighbor and us, like our family friends, like we were constantly like just playing those tracks and learning dances and playing dress up, and I have so many photos from those moments. It's
same.
Just hilarious.
Me and my sisters, because both my sisters were in dance too, but we would reenact like the Princess and the Pauper growing up.
Girl.
I don't know.
Princess and the what?
Yeah. My sisters were obsessed with this, and then of course because they were obsessed with it, I became obsessed with it. It was like a show it's like a Disney show about like sisters. So they were the sisters, but it was a whole musical, and I remember just like skipping around and then went into my Hannah Montana phase where I was like
Hannah Montana phase. I had Hannah Montana hair. Middle school, I cut my hair. I had bangs.
Did you have blonde? Did you go blonde?
Well, I already was blonde. I'm naturally blonde. I'm a baby blonde.
Okay.
So naturally blonde, grew up blonde my whole life. Then I got straight across bangs and like chunk highlights, like literally Hannah Montana verbatim. Like it wasn't even like on purpose, but I did one of those, oh my gosh, I did one of those things on computer where you can take a selfie and you add the hair, you add like wig, like clip art on your hair.
Oh,
and I was like, this is the look. You're like the bangs and the layers.
Do.
Yep, and that's what I did.
You're like, Mom, take me to get my hair done like this.
Yes, and I did.
I love that she was like, yeah.
The first time I had highlights, I was in 4th grade.
4th grade.
So I was 10 years old.
I was
highlights.
I was like in high school. I feel like my parents were like, no.
Oh, girl, my mom was in that living room giving me
full highlights. I love it.
But anyway, so the dancing, I did dancing and modeling from early age. Like I did dancewear modeling.
Okay.
For like little catalog, like local stuff. And then the dancing, I started teaching at 14.
Okay. Yeah. Just at your home studio.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I taught hip hop. Oh. And I don't want to say like I taught hip hop because it wasn't really hip hop, right? But it was what the cornfield needed.
The category of hip hop.
It was giving jazz funk. Illinois. It was yes. Yeah. It was not hip hop.
We had hip hop too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. It was hip hop then for us.
Sure. Yes. Exactly.
That's all we knew hip hop was.
Yes. So I taught, and that like really like I assisted. Like I assisted my teachers like in the classes, and that's kind of what ultimately brought me to teaching classes. My sister taught classes. It was something we always did in my studio.
Yeah.
And like nurturing kids and like teaching kids. I was so passionate about teaching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That it made me a better dancer. Right. Like I wanted to be like the best role model for these kids. Like I want a little too much in the perfectionist zone, but like I was so type A, so diligent with everything from school to dance to like my responsibility as a young teenager or whatever. Right. And just like getting my homework done. Girl, if I got one thing wrong on my test or like one thing wrong at like middle school, why was I trying so hard?
I think the same thing.
Why was I trying so hard?
I tried really hard in school, especially in middle school, and then I was like, I want to dance. So I still tried in school because I'm like also like I'm a perfectionist, but I was like, I feel like I don't care that much about it because I cared, but
it was too much.
Yeah,
to the point where literally I think it was 6th grade. Yeah, one of like, you know how you have teams.
Yeah.
So like our team, like one of our staff, like one of the teachers in charge of the team. Yeah. She like pulled the teachers together and was talking about me being so high strung and stressed.
Really?
About school. And I was like, I'm not stressed.
You're like, no, that's just who I am.
No, I'm fine. I'm literally fine, guys. I'm just working really hard. Yeah. Which I kind of was, but to the point that they thought like something was wrong. They're like, are you okay? Like, is something no, I was like, no, I'm just literally
wanted to be who you are.
Yeah, I wanted to just do my best. Yeah. And it was about being my best in everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you think you got like that mindset from? Because like I grew up doing gymnastics like really intensely in Dallas actually before I moved to Illinois. So I was homeschooled. I did the hard I did like I was going to the Olympics.
Giving Olympics.
That's what I wanted to do. So from a young age, I feel like that instilled in me like I got to work really hard and I have to do this like. Okay. And there's no middle ground. Like I'm 100%, but then we moved and there was no like good gym in Illinois. So I shifted that mindset to dance. Yeah. So I've had that like intense mindset. I think that started with my gymnastics. Right. But where do you think?
Which is like, I feel like gymnastics training is always like that.
Yeah, it is. It's very hardcore. It's like, it's very intense. Very, very intense. And I think I've kept that intensity. But like, where do you have a time in your life where you're like, it just switched on, or have you just kind of always been somebody that's like a go-getter?
I think I always had that, but I also had not the pressure, but the expectation from like my sister and my mom and like my dad, like just like my close circle and like my teachers, because they knew I could do it. Yeah. The expectation was there because I could meet the expectation every time and then got praised for it every time. Yeah. So I had a lot of positive reinforcement. Right. I was a little diva. Yeah. Girl, I was a diva because I was very good. Yeah. And I was very smart. Yeah. And I had a lot of things going for me at a young age. And I was naturally very talented, and the training and the teaching style just worked for me. It clicked. Yeah. And when I went to conventions, I started like being very observant of like the kids around me and copying what they did. Yeah. I wanted to be like the best kid in the room.
Totally.
And to then like, where I became the best kid in the room.
Right. Exactly. And like exposing yourself outside of like your home studio and like continuously like training with different choreographers or people that are working in the industry at a young age. Important. You start to realize some of the things that you need to pick up if you want to go down that path.
Like I felt like I had lacked like some of the stuff at my studio that I knew that if I wanted to be professional, because I kind of felt like I wanted to be a professional dancer like around middle school. Yeah. So the training had already clicked in for me. I was okay. This is it.
So middle school was your time, because that was my next question. Was like, when was that time you were like, yep, I'm going to be a dancer?
Maybe even younger. Yeah. I was preparing.
You were like, I want to go into entertainment. Like I'm a star.
Yeah. So I was doing the modeling. I was doing the dancing. I was teaching. I was so busy. I was working a lot of other like gigs, and like the modeling was not a lot, but like everything was to save up. Yeah. To prepare for my ultimate move or my goal of being a professional.
So all that money that you had earned as a kid, either working, teaching,
babysitting, nannying. I was doing so much nannying.
You saved all that.
Everything.
I know you talk a lot about like financial literacy, and that's something that I didn't grow up really having, and not, you know, because my parents didn't want to teach me. It just never was a thought until after I got out here, and my parents did not pay my way. Yeah. They were like, you have to survive. Yeah,
right. I mean,
so that moving out here at 18, I was like, oh shit, what does this even mean? Like to have to make money.
Like, how do you learn? You're learning as you're going. And I was learning as I was going, but from the age of 14, like budgeting and starting and
who enforced about that for you? Was it your parents?
Or? I mean, myself. I was making like the early modeling. It was like credits. It was credits to their. I think. I don't even think I was like really getting paid, but I was a baby. Yeah. But like teaching at my studio and just like making my little pennies that I was making. I mean, pennies, girl. I was making pennies. Yeah. But that was my like, oh, that's my budget to go to dinner and go to the Geneva Commons and shop. Like that was kind of where it started. And then the gas, like sometimes like I had to start paying for gas. Yeah. I had to start paying for the fun stuff and like getting it was basically my own allowance. Like I never really got allowance growing up. Right. So like my teen years, like the money that I made and like the babysitting, like all that like went to just like my fun stuff. And ultimately I was saving my money. And then when I graduated a semester early from high school.
So how did you do that? Because I don't even know anybody that graduated.
I kind of started thinking about it in sophomore year. In sophomore year, because my sister had graduated, so she's 3 grades above me. So we were only in high school together, freshman and senior. Like that was the only time. Gotcha. So as soon as she left, I was like, wait, so I have to be at this school
by myself.
Like I have to do all of this. Like I just want to be done. Yeah. I want it to be done so bad. Right. Because I was putting so much work in, as I talked about.
I'm sure you were
all like, the honors classes, all the like. If I like just trying to get a perfect GPA, right? Literally, yeah, maintaining that, and I was like, get me out. Like I knew at that point that I either wanted to go to like a conservatory or like a dance program or move. Yeah, so I think I figured out how to do it. I still had time for a study hall or whatever, a study hall period, and I kind of by junior year, like I had lumped my classes hard enough so that by senior year I only had to do the first semester. That's and I still had time for like I did ceramics or something. Oh my gosh, like I did it. Yeah, I was like, this is fun. And I changed I took French up until then. I thought French was gonna help me with girl. French does not help. Just because you have ballet training.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was gonna cross over.
Yeah, with it. No. I've learned as much. All my French has come from just ballet class.
Yeah, but you don't even learn those words. Like,
no,
PK?
You don't. No.
Pot de chat? Like, okay, the cat.
Pot de beret.
Yeah, like, so I did that and it was fun. It was good. Yeah. And I spoke pretty fluently. Wow. But not fluently. That's crazy. But I spoke eloquently. Like, I had, like, a good pronunciation. Yeah. And then, obviously, the masculine and feminine switched over to, like, when I learned Spanish, it was easier. Yeah. And I just did 1 year of Spanish.
Yeah. I did 6 years of Spanish.
It was, like, me senior year, 18 years old with these freshmen that are taking Spanish 1 over who didn't, want to move up from 8th grade because everyone's required to take it
again. Yes.
So it was so fun, so easy, so boring. And then I took ceramics. Like it was a breeze. Like that's when I knew like this is it. Yeah. I just got to get through this last semester. And then I started dancing with a cover band. I was in a little hip hop band. Yeah. That's when I kind of learned like all my grooves.
I think I remember that like back in the day. Yeah.
Like 2 Hype Crew.
Yeah. Whenever it was a local gig.
Yeah, it's Chicago. So we did like Midwest shows, but it was like 50 routines that we had to learn the choruses to, like all these 80s, 90s, 2000 hip hop songs. Oh, hip hop. And yeah, girl, the Adidas, like we were wearing head to toe, like
the sets, the matching sets.
Like it was very fun. It was so fun. It was really good for me because that's where I kind of feel like I was introduced to like actual hip hop and like hip hop grooves and not just like hitting like things like jazz, that or not jazz funk. So that was really, really good for me. I did that a lot of weekend shows. I was doing a lot of babysitting, nannying.
Was that in school or like in that time that
I started it was my senior year. My first show, technically,
okay.
I think I was like 17 or 18. I was like right before I turned 18 or something. But yeah, it was really good for me.
No, I'm sure, especially like a real dance job that like.
Yes. And it was like my first backup dancing job.
Right, exactly.
Actually, it wasn't. My first backup dancing job was for Jenny McCarthy had this fashion show.
Oh, really?
And Donnie Wahlberg saw me there, and then Donnie asked me to perform. Like, he asked me to perform with him at his like solo concert in St. Charles, Illinois. Like, I was 17, a baby. Yes, and I did it.
The most random job.
That was my first like official. I was like, I'm dancing with Donnie Wahlberg.
But like, there's nothing like live shows.
Yeah,
it's
girl.
like,
and in your hometown, I felt so powerful.
You felt so cool.
Yes, I did. Yes, I
like,
did.
Look at me. I'm a professional dancer.
But it's so cute. He still supports me. Like, he still follows me. He still supports my little journey. Like, not my little journey, but like, he still supports me, and it's really cool. And he's really sweet. No, anyway, so that was my first backup dancing. Then I did like all the hip hop stuff, and then I was doing modeling stuff. But it was modeling for Hoover Vacuum, Groupon, like Timberland, like not It's Chicago, and I was young.
It was commercial, you know, but
but it helped me save.
But it helped you save. So going back to that, like financial literacy part, because I didn't know what that is. If you could give anybody, let's say, you know, that's young, advice on even how to save or how to kind of go into that mindset for their future, like what would you tell them? If you know, like,
don't spend your money. Stop spending your money on stupid shit. Like, literally stop. You really don't need so many things. No, you don't need so many things. You don't need all the designer stuff. If that really makes you happy, do it. That's cute. That's not for me. I don't have anything designer.
I don't either.
That's just not my brand.
No, because I just can't fathom spending that much on one thing.
Yeah, I think I had my goal of moving out here, and I just wanted to save. I was just saving. And I did jobs that didn't feel like jobs. I've never had a 9-to-5. I've never worked a normal person in my normal person job. I've never worked like I've never waitress. I've never done any of that. I babysat. Yeah. So to me, like, babysitting and teaching was like both like nurturing kids, and like being like, when I'm babysitting, I'm still able to not like help a child develop, but like I was so passionate about that. Yeah. And still am, and I miss it. Like, I miss teaching, but I dropped it with like touring and everything.
I'm sure you'll one day get back
like,
into that world.
Being a part of kids' lives, I love that shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
So the babysitting and the teaching fulfilled that. Yeah. So I wasn't working in my eyes. I feel like I've never worked a day in my life.
Wow. The fact that you can say that is amazing, because I know there's so many people that like really strive to have that lifestyle, but I think you have prepped yourself to be able to live that way from a young age, just even in your mindset and like figuring out what you want to do and like just going straight for it and not like looking other ways. I know a lot of people are like kind of floating,
and that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Like, that is so normal. Yeah. I am not normal in that sense of having a strong this like tunnel vision of I'm doing this, and it didn't take away from my childhood, but there's a lot of things, like I didn't party in high school. I didn't go. I went to like 3 games, girl. I did not do. I was literally so focused. Yeah. So focused. Yeah. On just dance, teaching, training, making money, saving. Right. Like,
that's it.
Yeah.
But that's what
it's a very mature mindset, but it didn't. Yeah, and it was so fulfilling. It's not like I was so goofy. Yeah, I was so like I was having the time of my life doing these things. It was not like I was in this diligent, like this diligent, crazy training, like or like this crazy schedule. I was making my schedule. Yeah, and it was in order to get to where I am, and I've let go so much of my perfectionist tendencies, like the little like OCD things that I would do growing up, like oh my god, like I was crazy about that stuff.
No, me too.
Now I'm not. I'm not really at all. I'm so more relaxed and just like it's peaceful. My mind is at ease. Right. There's nothing happening, like there's no chaos.
There's no, like, not
there's nothing happening. Right. There's no chaos though, because it's like I'm settled.
Yeah.
I'm in my pocket.
No.
Like I'm doing what I love every day. I'm not like I'm living out my dream.
Right.
And I have been for the 6-7 years I've been here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's interesting because I had George on, like his just released, but I had George on my podcast and he was talking about his path and he wasn't as tunnel visioned as you. So I think this is a really good opposite because he did like a million different jobs to find where he's at now, which now he's like super locked in and loves what he does. But it was definitely like this. Yeah. So to have you on here and show that it is possible on the flip side, to have a goal, have a dream, go for it and be happy in it, in the process of it, I think is a beautiful thing as well. But I also think it's like a big like applaud to like just you and your mindset. And I think that's like, it really is everything. It is everything. How did you have such a confidence, I guess, growing up? Especially because I feel like you probably didn't relate to a lot of kids.
No, girl.
Because kids are, you know, they want to have fun. They don't see.
They're not focused.
Yeah, they're not focused. Exactly.
And it's not that I didn't have moments of, girl, I could not. If you put a book in front of me and I had to read, reading my comprehension was like, I was so on to the next. But like, it's not that I still got the book done and I still understood it and I still got my stuff done because I would clock in. I would tap
focus in.
Yes. Like everything is mindset. I feel like our mind is, it's so powerful in mental health and in keeping yourself healthy.
Yeah. Health is the most important thing.
So important.
Yeah.
Like we can control.
Yeah.
We can control ourselves.
Definitely.
And
absolutely.
Like just because it's how you react to your emotions.
Yeah. Totally.
Like I was really good at like, because I wanted to be that role model, because I wanted to be the perfect. Right. I was so focused on evolving. That was my word. I was like, I'm evolving.
Yeah. You're like, I'm growing.
Yeah. I was so focused on that. And I was reading lots of like, talent books and like super insane like focus books to like figure out what I needed to do to be the best teacher to then be the
level
best,
up from where you were
leveling up.
So you constantly had the growth mindset, which I feel like we should always continuously
like I went from being cocky little diva because I was that girl to being like, no, now I'm just actually very confident and very secure in myself. Yeah.
So did you ever have anybody, I guess, as like high schoolers bully you? Or did you ever feel like an outsider from like a friend group where you were like, I literally, like, I don't care?
I would say I felt a lot of jealousy from other people. Because of, I think, the situation that I put myself in and the pedestal that I would keep myself on. Yeah. I would put myself away from others. Yeah. Because I did not relate to these high schoolers. I did not relate to, I mean, even like within my own dance studio, there was, you know, jealousy there. Or I don't even know if it was jealousy per se, but that's what it felt like, at least growing up. Right. And it was odd. Yeah. And it didn't feel alienating, but I definitely felt the confidence of being like, no, I got this.
You were selfish in a sense of like, you put yourself first, which is the most important thing. And I think for kids growing up are afraid to like really go full force into what they want to do because they're afraid of what other people say about them behind their back or think. I
wasn't living like a normal childhood per se. Like I wasn't like dating a bunch of boys. I was not going to the games. I was not drinking. I was not I was not doing anything that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was like, the goal is to get my little booty to LA and work. Like that just was the goal always. So I don't know. I think that,
and without even knowing you, by the way, I could feel that energy from you. I was like, this girl is very determined, and like I had that same goal. Like growing up, I was like, I'm gonna go to LA and dance, and I feel like I didn't have like people to relate to, and in a sense, like people are like, oh, she just works so hard, like, you know. I'm like,
or the opposite, and it's she just has everything. That's what it felt like. Which is like, oh, well, you're just pretty. Oh, well, you just have the 8-pack because that's how you are. but there is a lot of work and skill.
Yes.
And
absolutely. But I could feel that energy from you, like even like dancing in the same room as you.
Yeah.
Like you were the girl that like people were like, oh, like I need to like be at that level. Like you were so locked in.
Thank you.
And I could just feel that even growing up, you know, as a kid and like dancing and stuff. Like I was like,
so many
this
things
girl's
happening.
super locked in. And I think that's something nowadays people don't have as much. I feel like people aren't as like, I'm going to go after something. It's not as common as, you know, as I think it, not that it should be. I think, you know, everybody has their path and stuff, but it definitely is inspiring to see somebody like you go through the journey of just like, no, I'm going to go after this thing.
Yeah. And there's definitely like, girl, not every job I've done is sunshine and rainbows.
No, me
like
either.
I went through a lot of weird, shitty jobs and toxic environments.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it taught me a lot. Like you had to learn as you're
going.
It. Yeah, as you're going. Like I was a very much of a yes girl.
Yeah, you're like, I'll do anything. Like you'll take,
I'll take any job.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you do kind of have to do that at the beginning.
Yeah, you
because
do.
also those jobs lead you to maybe something else that you weren't expecting to get.
Like a networking opportunity.
Oh my God, that happens to me all the time.
Networking. And that's all
it did happen all the time.
Is anymore. It's just like networking, who you know, like what rooms you put yourself into is like super important. I remember, I think, did you get the scholarship for AMDA back in the day?
Yes.
Okay.
That was before I decided to graduate early.
Okay. What, because I know they had that audition at West Coast. Mm-hmm. So you got that scholarship at one of it was like the nationals, because I only went to one nationals, but I think it was my senior year.
Yeah, and so it would have been my junior year.
Yeah, so you got the AMDA scholarship. Did you know anything about AMDA before then? Or did you ever consider going to
My
AMDA?
mom did some more research than me, and then she went ahead and told me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I did know of it, and that's why I was interested in the idea of doing a program,
because it was like a 2-year program. You could go
LA
or New York.
Yes.
And I honestly didn't know anything about it until West Coast had been like, oh, this is the scholarship, you know, the AMDA scholarship that we're offering. And I remember being like, what's that? And I would look into it. And of course, me from Illinois, I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool.
Right.
And then I visited. I saw it, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Not for me.
So my sister went and did a full BFA program at Western Michigan.
Okay.
In Kalamazoo. And so she had been like a year or two into that by the time I got that scholarship. So I was still in the mindset of like, maybe I will do college or conservatory. But I was like, to me, it felt like a waste of time. I didn't need the extra training. I didn't need the extra exposure.
Yeah.
I said, get my ass to LA. Like, I just wanted to be there so bad.
Yep. That was me. I was like right out of, I got super lucky because I honestly like don't know. I would have figured it out how to get here eventually, but like me getting into the Edge program, like
everything.
That's what got me here. And I was like, I didn't even know I was coming to LA until like 2 weeks before. Like I had no college plans. I was like, well, I'm just going to save up my money and move across the country. And then I got Edge scholarship and I had to move in 2 weeks. And it was like, that was like me like being like,
girl, how could you
it's
possibly have had time to save up because you didn't even know you were going?
Right. No, my parents were like, we'll help you for a little bit. But then once like I got out here and we got an apartment and everything, then it's like okay, good luck.
Don't.
Yeah.
Fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So thankfully I had that program to that was me being like, that this is like where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to like just do it and jump in.
Right.
So when did you move to LA?
So I assisted with West Coast.
Right. So you toured their cities. Did you travel?
Yeah, so I did. They had a fusion dance company, which is like their junior
I remember that. They had
so
like
I did that their first
something.
year. Yeah, it was at the Nationals. And I did it. So my senior year, or it was junior and senior, I did fusion. And then that ultimately, like I was in front of the faculty a lot more. I mean, girl, I was a diehard. Like, I was going to other conventions, but that was like
like your convention. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
So I was working with John like from the early ages. Like he was always had my eye on me.
Yeah.
So when I finally was able to assist him, because back in the day, you're John Crutchman's assistant.
Yes.
You're not West Coast pro assistant. It's like you are his assistant. You get paid to be in his classes and then work admin for competition.
Yeah. Wow.
It wasn't like you didn't have to take all the classes.
Oh, wow. So you just like were with him.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved his classes.
It's incredible.
So much.
Jazz,
like that
jazz,
was like
jazz.
my favorite. I was like jazz. Because
girl,
jazz is like that's my genre.
Yes,
and
I loved it.
Lines for days. Just like powerful jazz.
So I did that, made all my connections. That nationals Block, like the town scouts were there. So then Block basically told me like, yeah, we've been seeing you for the last couple of years. Like, when you're ready to come to LA, like, tell us, like, you're signing. Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, nice. So it's happening. We're doing it. Yeah. So I had already made like the faculty connections and I already knew people out here and I just had it. You just ready to go. Like I did like that last nationals and then I moved like this time last year, like Labor Day. Okay. Like fall. So yeah, we basically moved this 2017. No. You're younger than me. Yeah. So it's 2017. So you were already here. Yes. It was when I basically we were thrown out into the audition world at the same time. Mm-hmm. I remember when you came out here. I was like, I think we almost moved in together. Girl. I think I texted you. Like I was trying to be like, I just gotta text anyone I know. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Someone take me. Yes. And then I ended up because I lived with Brooke, Fong, Bailey Swift. Yes. And Ari. We lived together for like 2 or 3 years. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like I was like about to do it and then it fell through and like I ended up moving. I had a friend that from one of the hair show modeling shows I did. She lives up in or used to live in Selmar. Okay. So I stayed with her for like a month or two before I got my grounds and like figured out what I was doing. Yeah. And then moved in with actors and it was a couple people at the time, but now it's just me and Ashley, and we live in the house. We've lived together basically my whole LA existence. Like we are unheard of besties. Like we are meant to be together. Like we are soul sisters. Aww. We call each other like we're housewives. Oh, because we just do like everything is together. We make meals together. Right? We just do we schedule together. Like it's just everything's together. Wait, that's crazy. Because I know a lot of people like move around and stuff, but that's like a blessing, and that you have found your person to stay with the whole time. And she's not a dancer, but knows so many dancers. Like our worlds are so collided that it's everything. Perfect. Once you're out here too, like for so long, like I feel like everything overlaps somehow. Yeah. I mean, it does, but then so going back to like touring, me being gone for so long, I never like the first couple years, I did not feel like I had community here. Not at all. So you moved here. Yes. So guys, if you don't know, Bella has been on tour for her whole basically career out here. I feel like. Yeah, basically. In and out. Yeah. How did, when did you first get signed to Maluma, right? Yeah. So I essentially moved here, signed with Block right away. I had my meeting the first week I got here because of West Coast, WCDE. Signed with them, started doing auditions. A shit ton of them. There were like so many auditions that fall that I was like getting thrown in. Yeah. Ready to go. Like all of them. Like, I didn't even have headshots yet. I'm like using old whatever. So I did that and then I booked jobs within like the first month. Yeah. Which is crazy. Gosh. And like did those and then by like spring, like 6 months into it, I did a Mob Story. Okay. Which was like Brian Friedman. Yes. Janelle back in the day. Tracy Phillips, Shannon Mather. A whole thing. That was like a big deal. It was a huge deal for me, like being 20 and doing that. Absolutely. And like, I was like, okay, so we're going to Vegas and I'm going to be a Vegas girl. We're going to do this theater. And it was kind of hell. Yeah. The creative process was really cool. Yeah. Like loved working with them all. But then the show was just very toxic. It was ran by the mob, like a mob family. They were in the mob. Interesting. So how long were you on that show for? It was behind schedule and we didn't release like was spring until fall and then fall we ran the show for a couple months and then it got dropped. Oh wow. But I was stuck in Vegas 20 years old. Mind you, I did not have a fake. I did not do it. Like I was like just eating food. Just there. In a toxic environment, eating my feelings away with being surrounded by some of the cast was amazing, but it was just like the fam I don't know. Yeah. There was a lot there that wasn't run properly. I learned a lot about how a show should not be run. Right. Especially like your first big job out in LA. So disappointing. You were probably like, what? So disappointing. So I got back to LA and a couple months into it, I started working with Richie Jackson. Okay. Nice. Richie Jackson. Yeah. So I had a great experience with him. I know that's not the case for everyone, but I only did a couple jobs. Yeah. And then, Emily's worked with him. Yeah. Too. Yeah. I think her experiences have been good. So I just did a couple and then I booked the tour. Yeah. And I was direct booked for this world tour.
Wow.
For Maluma, who I did not know at the time. I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
Who's this Latin artist? Like,
yeah.
Okay, I'll go travel the world.
Blowing up, like almost like with you.
Yeah,
I feel like, like he was big.
His growth has been
like,
really fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's like, it feels like he's unstoppable. He just never stops touring. I mean, he's also a busybody, so he just never wants to be home. He just wants to tour. So then I'm touring, and have been since 2019.
Oh my goodness!
It is 2024.
So. How has that experience been for some? Because I know a lot of dancers, like you move to LA and like most dancers, when you ask them like, what is your goal? They want to go on tour with an artist. Of
course. I'm a Sagittarius. I want to travel,
You're
adventure.
Like everywhere.
Yes. So it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I was thrown in with a really big group.
Yeah.
There was 12 of us at the time.
Yeah. I remember like when it first.
Girl, it felt like a recital. It was like too many girls dancing on a little stage. But it was so fun. It felt like we were wearing like Fashion Nova bodysuits.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But it was fun. And like living out that dream.
Yeah.
21 at this point. I went to 30.
Yeah. How many cities?
30 to 40 countries.
Okay. 30 to 40 countries.
Within the first like year and a half.
Oh my goodness.
I think.
Yeah.
And we toured it was crazy. And we were sharing rooms.
Yeah. So
for years, sharing rooms, which is super fun and cute to have a sleepover for like a week, maybe max, but then, a couple days.
But I can, when you're touring, I mean, it's exhausting. Like, but having to, of course, like they're your friends, but you need your own space.
You need your own space.
Yeah.
We're grown ass adults. We need our space.
Yeah.
And I needed that mental space. Like I'm not really an extrovert. I'm an introverted extrovert in a way, or an extroverted introvert. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I need my time to recharge by myself. That's how I recharge. Right. It's maybe with the right group of people, but also those are your coworkers. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. And they're your sisters, and they're your tour sisters. Yeah. And like the crew and the band they're insanely loving and fun, and like it was incredible. Yeah. It was incredible. The first like year was insane. We were flying crazy. And girl, sometimes I'm in a middle seat. We're in economy. We're not getting business class. We're not getting any of that.
Just plane. Oh my gosh.
Just plane after plane after plane.
Too. Of course, I fly, but like
this is next
hate
level.
Flying. Yeah, I would.
And like you'd have to fly, and then sometimes it would be like a show the next day.
Oh my
So you'd fly at like 6 a.m, and then you'd have a show that day because you just had to. Like there was no other way to get to the city.
There was no other option.
My favorite flight, oh my gosh, was end of 2019. We were in Mexico. Yeah, girl. Yeah. We were in Mexico doing a quick tour, and we had to get to Qatar. Okay. But the only way we could get there in time was if they sent us Qatar Airways. It was like the festival was sponsored by them, so they sent a whole like 737, like big old, like the one that's like 343. Yeah. Those big ass planes. They sent one for our 50 people crew.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like Team A, Team B. So it was like Maluma and like everyone in his group, and then all of our crew, band, dancers, all on this flight. Partying. Essentially, we were partying on this plane. It was only us, so we all had first class. Yeah. That was the only time I've ever flown first class.
Oh my gosh, I bet it's so nice.
It was so fun. Yeah. Like I just ordered everything.
Every time I walk past the first class, like I'm like,
you can't. Girl, this plane was like, you don't even walk past it because it's that big. Like you had to go to the left. Yeah. It was to the left, the first class. Everything else was to the right. But like just moments like that. Yeah. I would never have ever thought that I'd be on essentially a private jet 737 thing. Yeah. With an artist, with my people. Yeah. Partying.
Just living life.
Yeah. To then go to the Middle East. Yeah. To perform.
Oh my goodness.
And we were the first, I think in Riyadh. Yeah. Which is another Middle Eastern city. We were, which you've been. I feel like you've been in Middle East.
I've been to Dubai. I did a show out there in Dubai.
I love Dubai.
Yeah, I love
the
Dubai.
Architecture.
I would move to Dubai.
Really?
I considered it for a little bit, but then I was like, no, I can't leave.
There's a lot of entertainment out there.
Yeah. It's just so hot. And like, I was like, I talked to my family every day, so it was like the time difference was just like too much. It was just a lot. So I ended up obviously, but I was out there for like half a year.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So I was like living there. I was up in an apartment. I did the big show at the World Expo. So it was cool. It was a really good experience.
I remember seeing that.
But I love Dubai, but Qatar is like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them. So what was I say? Riyadh, we were the first all women backup dancing group.
Really?
To be on stage together. And girl, the restrictions they put on us, like they were like, no pointing, no kicking your feet, no it's touching really the artist. Strict. Barely don't even really look at him.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't roll your shoulders in a sexual way. So you had to like basically
like
it was
re-choreograph the show.
It was giving Step Touch Disneyland. Like we changed everything. Like just don't do anything wrong. Yeah. They were like, you're gonna like. It felt like we were gonna get arrested if we didn't follow these rules.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So just like little things like that you never would ever think would happen on tour happen.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, with touring, I know that there's like a lot of adapting because, you know, of different sets, different stages, like
that was a thing too.
Stuff like that. Tour. Like, how did you process like, you know, the change, I guess, like the constant on the go, the constant change.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love adapting to things.
Yeah.
I love being a chameleon. I love, like, to me, that's like, it's just an added challenge.
You like a challenge.
I get bored, like doing the same thing. Like we would have the same show for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same move. So if I have to like change my entrance a little bit or like, oh, this distance is a little different. Like I love that.
Yeah.
To me, that's a game. That's a a mathematical game.
Right.
And I ate that shit up because I love school.
Right.
So that, like, even to this day, like, that's something that I love.
Yeah. So you said 5 years.
Yeah.
So now you just got back, right?
Yeah, it was just a quick little summer. We go to Europe like every summer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. So you're like, hey,
just another summer in Europe.
So how often are you back in and out with him?
The last 2 years have been less on the road.
Okay.
We were on the road so much. So after the pandemic, we were touring up until the pandemic, like the day before the international ban. Mm-hmm. Then I got back to the States the day, like literally just in time. Went back to Chicago, basically was there for a year and a half. Okay. I kind of needed that time. At that time, I was really touring so much that I was feeling burnt out, and I literally asked the universe for a break. Yeah. Unfortunately, the break was a little long. Yeah. Miss COVID said,
we're going to have to wait. So you were back at home.
Yes. Took my break. Family, sister. Like on the couch with my sister every day. Oh, like we were in it together, in it deep, and there were lots of moments that like we don't get with our siblings in our 20s. Yeah, no. So having that was
that's like one thing I say all the time to people. I was like, if you're home right now and you have family, like just soak it up because there's gonna be a day where it's not gonna be the same. Yeah. And so that's like the one thing, you know, COVID did was like kind of like bring everybody slow down and kind of like bring everybody back inside to just be together. Yeah. But you know, you talked about burnout. Is there anything like with that, those feelings, like how did you process burnout? I know like I'm somebody that gets bored really fast and I get burnt out pretty easily. Mm-hmm. Like I'll be on a project or working on something and I'm like, okay, what's next? I struggle with burnout almost every single tour. Yeah. Or like the fact that like I come back and I sit in this weird in between of I deserve a lot of rest. Yeah. But then I'm like, what am I resting from? Yeah. Tour isn't that much work. Right. It's not. Yeah. Like it's heaven. Like you're traveling and it's exhausting. Like traveling alone is exhausting. So that is like what, honestly, what you're recovering. Your body should not be chucked around the earth like 70 times. Like I think 2022, I had been on 80 plus flights at least. And that was not even like the other travel and the buses and the other like forms of transportation.
Yeah. So I always feel this, like, what am I doing? Like, how do I make a decision for myself? Yeah. Like, I'll get home and be like, what? I'm supposed to make myself breakfast? Yeah. I don't get hotel breakfast. Right. You're like I have to make myself meals. I get to decide what I want to do today. And if that is sit at home, do nothing, that's great. But I have the ultimate choice. Yeah. It's not like tours telling me where to go, what to do. Right. And then it's like, I always feel like, even right now, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? What's next? Yeah. What's next? The uncertainty is something we all deal with. Yeah. And having tour be like my consistent. Yeah. The structure. Like it's stability. Yeah. Like there's part of me that feels like, why am I still doing Maluma? Yeah. But I still love it. Yeah. And I still admire the fact that it's brought me the life that I've wanted. Right. It's allowed me to save up for my future even more than I already had. Yeah. So I have this like really like sweet spot of like I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I feel comfortable with it, but like I'll step away when
you're ready,
when I feel like I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So you're constantly like on the go, what's next, like constantly like going for something and chasing something and like, you know, pursuing your dream and doing that. Have you ever felt like, okay, I just need to like slow down? Or are you always like, because I know sometimes it's like, for me, it's like exhausting to be like constantly chasing something, but also that's how I live and that's what I love.
Yeah.
But is there ever a time where you're like, okay, maybe I don't have to be so intense with what I want to pursue?
I've definitely, tying that back into like me, the last 2 years, we haven't toured as much. Yeah. So after 2022, 2023, like the beginning of most of that year, right, I was finally home. Yeah. And I was developing like, okay, this is what home feels like in LA. Right. Let me find that. Let me create that. Yeah. Because I didn't have a lot of balance. And my word that I chose that year, I like to choose a word to focus on for the year. Really cool. So I chose balance. Yeah. And it was balance between, you know, in all the aspects of my life. And I wanted more balance with being home and my work and home life. Yeah. And I had that because it was kind of built into me not having tour, but it forced me to be okay with being home and kind of creating that schedule again. And
a little more work-life balance.
And also finding other job opportunities.
Totally.
And at that point, so I had signed with Sports and Lifestyle Unlimited the fall before that. Okay. And so I wanted to like create another outlet for myself and not just be so focused on dance and like the hardships of the dance industry. Yeah. And like, let me give myself something to focus on so that I also have my attention and like feet in other doors. Totally. Yeah. Because I feel like versatility is really, really important out here in general. But I started to do that in 2023 and just try other things. Like I like literally just doing other jobs. Yeah. And to me that felt so like refreshing because I was so stuck just in doing the same doing the same stuff. And like same choreographers, same whatever. So like it was a big goal of mine to just like work with other people. And doing that helped bring like my passion back into dance. Yeah. And like and that's why we do it. Yeah.
It's the passion. I know that you had mentioned, you know, not feeling a sense of like community out here because you have been traveling so much. So how is that now that you're, you know, not touring all the time, maybe, you know, you're here a little bit more. How has that process been like for you, like getting back into class and like, you know, just training and just dancing because, you know, you're a dancer and we like to train, or finding your community of friends or
the community has kind of come from the jobs that I do. I really don't train
I'm the same way
that much. I work a lot. Yeah. And when I don't work, I want the breaks. Yeah. And it's I've also found community like within my roommate and the dancers that she has and my boyfriend and being like his friend. Like I just have found that with the people that I surround myself with. Yeah. I think it's still important to have a circle that's not just dance, work. And it's important to have people that are beyond that and expand your world, literally.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely feel more at home now. Good. Like I feel like I've found that. Yeah. Yeah, so I not training so much, but there's also still to me like anxiety about training and anxiety going to class. I'm just like,
the pressure of class is like,
why?
Yeah.
Because I put this expectation on myself. Yeah. And I also am just like, well, why am I going? Why am I paying to take class when I'm usually paid to do this work? Yeah. And like, it's a lot of work. Like taking one class. Yeah. I put so much work into it as if it's like life or death.
Life or death. Why? I know. That's like one thing about me is like I used to, whenever I would train a lot, I would go into every class like, I have to get noticed, I have to get called out, I have to be put in a group, I have to get filmed so I can put it and have, you know, proof that I took class. And I've like, obviously I've removed myself a lot from like the dance industry and gone in a different direction. But now when I take class, it's like such a different mindset that actually makes like taking class so much more enjoyable because I'm there because I love dance, not because I'm like trying to execute, like do the, you know, it's like.
I definitely, I'll always go into it with the intention of it's just class. Yeah. And then as soon as I get my little ass in that room, I'm like,
like,
just trying so hard.
Yes.
So I've definitely found more balance with it, and my anxiety has definitely lessened. It's not. I still know my worth. I'm like, no, I'm a bad bitch. I can still go take class and look amazing, even if I screw up or whatever, like, and mess up the combo. It doesn't matter because I'm still at a higher tier than maybe someone who's just training and doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
There's still going to be a difference in the energy that I provide.
Definitely.
And that's knowing your value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you have a confidence, you know, and you know your worth. And I think that's something like a lot of people can step into, like just knowing your worth. It's like, is like going to raise your confidence level so much. And then in return, you're going to manifest and get so much that you want out of life.
And sometimes, you know, we don't always have that self-worth.
Yeah.
And the delusion, that's where delusion comes in. Yes. And it's almost tricking yourself into thinking that, even if you're not. It's like, no, but I am.
No,
but I am.
But I am.
But I am. I am that girl. So even if you have to step into a character, if that becomes like a character for yourself, like that's something I feel like I used as a tool growing up, like being whatever the persona needed to be. I would step into that.
No, definitely. That's super cool that you're able to do that. And I want to ask just a couple questions just for the audience purposes, just a couple things to kind of wrap up a little bit. First question, if there's anybody in high school or young that wants to pursue dance, what advice would you give them?
Stay focused. We talked about it earlier, but I think it's in whether that focus is in different realms and different directions. I think just trying your best, being your best, putting your best foot forward, and in giving yourself the challenge, pushing yourself. I feel like these days kids just they don't want to try.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's like you need to push yourself.
Yes.
Or you will not get anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
People are not always going to believe in you for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes your parents will, sometimes they won't. Sometimes your coaches will, sometimes they won't. So you always have to be like your biggest cheerleader. And
definitely.
You know, if you don't have your exact endpoint in mind, it's still putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
And saving your money.
Save your money.
Stop spending your money.
Right.
Don't spend all your money.
Don't spend all your money on designer stuff.
Stop.
Don't need that shit.
Unless you really, really want it, then get like one thing.
2 more things.
Yeah.
1, what do you do outside of work that's like for fun, that is like for balance, that's not
yoga?
Okay.
I'm a yoga girly. I love Pilates and yoga.
I like core power. I do core power.
Okay.
Like the
it's right here.
Pilates sculpts. Oh my gosh, it's like right there. So I walk over and sweat my ass off.
I do that for me. I also love being crafty.
Wow.
Any kind of little craft or like thing around the house. Or like a new designy thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Keeping my mind busy in terms of like creation.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that a lot because I'm doing like the same dances over or whatever, and like my creation.
You still need an outlet
zone.
for creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Last one. We'll wrap up with this one. Is there you're super confident, right?
Yeah.
For somebody that maybe doesn't have that, or they're lost, or somebody that feels super insecure and like judged by people, like what advice would you give to like get out of that mindset and really be able to step into, you know, their greatness and their purpose?
Affirmations.
Yeah.
And telling yourself.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back to this point of delusion.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't feel right at first and you don't feel like it's the truth. Yeah. It's like speaking your affirmations to yourself. I listen to I have my daily mantra that I basically say every day, like just throughout the day, I'll just say it, is you are happy, you are healthy, you are happy, you are healthy, you are wealthy, you are loved.
Yes, I saw that on your post.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And I think
I'm saying that's why it feels weird, because I would say I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am loved.
Yeah.
It's just something I say all the time because I feel like my
I mean, you
hit
all the points.
Yeah.
You hit all the points. And I also believe that like repeating like positive affirmations, like if you don't believe it now, like by repeating it you're going to start to believe
Again,
it.
your mind is so powerful.
Your mind, it's all your mind. Like a healthy mind is, that's how you're going to be successful.
If you have a healthy mind, that's how I've been able to, I have a really healthy mind. Yeah. And I've been able to balance my emotions for a lot of my life, which is not normal. Yeah. Again, I'm very mature in that sense. I had that growing up. Yeah. Where I, again, was evolving and I was like, oh, well, that doesn't serve me. I'm not going to be frustrated on that. I can't control that. Moving on. Yeah. On to the next. Like I'm very much so on to the next. Forget about it. No, like it's not that I ever push my feelings down, but it's that I allow the feeling, get upset with it, feel the emotion, feel stressed. I'm allowed to feel stressed. That's all. These are all. Every emotion is valuable and valid. Yeah. And if you feel those things, allow them to sit with you. Yeah. But then we're done. We're done with her. Yeah. We're moving on. Feel it. Moving and then onward. Put it past. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. That's something I practice daily. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Well, to wrap up, is there anything that you're in the works with that's upcoming or not that's really exciting? I'm actually taking a little break. I'm just which you sitting. Deserve, Bella. You deserve it. But I am doing with my agency because I was with Sports and Lifestyle. Now it's considered the option. They merged. I'm doing a lot of test shoots coming up just so that I have like a better portfolio. Very so it's stronger so that I can hit higher clients. Yeah. Because I've been on hold for a lot of cool stuff, but I'm not booking them. Yeah. So I feel like it just comes down to like I need an elevated portfolio. Yeah. So I'm doing that. Elevate the portfolio. Yeah. And then that's awesome. And then book the job. Yes. And then make the money. And then be good with your finances. And save the money. Back around. Well, thank you so much for coming on. What's your Instagram? Where can people find you? At Bella B Hungry, which is my initial, just Bella B. Yeah. Hungry like the country, not the food, not hungry like food. Because I'm Hungarian. Yes. So that's a play on words. So Bella B Hungry. Yeah. Bella is hungry, but also I am Hungarian. Yeah. But you're hungry for your dreams and your goals. Yeah, so all the things. Yes. Awesome. Well, guys, make sure to follow Bella on the platforms. I mean, really, it's just Instagram, TikTok like a little bit, but yeah. So Instagram, follow Bella on Instagram. And thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited for everybody to hear your story. I feel like we only brushed on things. Like I know. That's what everybody says. So much to say. Well, maybe guys, comment down if you want a part 2. Because I feel like there's so many more. Like I feel like hardships and things and just like there's so much. The industry. Totally. The industry. Talk about it forever. Oh yeah. We can have definitely. I feel like we should have like a let's bring people back into one room. Woo. And we'll all have like a powwow about the industry. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to Unposted, and I will catch you next week. Woo! Bye.